Hello, everybody. This is Pasha Marlowe from the Let Pleasure Be the Measure podcast. I am with you today with another exciting guest. This is Kim Ward. Woo!
Where's the applause?
And Kim, we're videotaping this and audio recording. I forgot to tell you. Yeah, somebody might watch it. Some people like to watch the podcast and some people like to listen. Both are fun. Because my guests are always colorful personalities with so much to see and hear. And there it is, social distancing queen t-shirt. Kim is a certified master transformation coach and with diplomas on the wall and a published author and an extraordinary human being. I met Kim through a leadership public speaking group, and Kim did a authentic, raw, funny, really heartfelt post about suicide prevention. And then I think I did one too, and a similar theme, and we reached out to each other. And we connected on the fact that we both have this close to our heart experiences around issues of suicide. And we also both have vibrancy and humor and lives full of pain and pleasure all as one. So this is going to be one for the books, y'all, because we're improvising it.
I'm going to have you follow me around and just roll out that introduction everywhere I go, because that was pretty badass.
Yeah. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually wondering how we met. I'm like, I don't even know anymore.
I know you mean so many people online. You're just like, where do I know you? What's the context? Yeah. You did a post, and I think it's really brave when people talk about their deepest pain points that are often wrapped up in shame. And yet now that I've been taught, and I'm sure it's similar to you with your story, it's like, it's almost becoming relatively easy to talk about because it is so much a part of my mission and my purpose that I feel like it's my duty and my calling to talk about suicide and suicide prevention. So it doesn't even feel taboo anymore, which is how I'm hoping other things like sexuality and body shame, all of it. I just want it all to become normalized. So you're the perfect person to talk to.
I'm glad to hear that, because I've never had a filter. I mean, ever. In high school, my boyfriend in high school, he would walk by my classroom and yell the word twat just because I liked the word, and it would crack me up in my classroom. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's my man. I love that boy. And so I've never had a filter. So as you grow, right, other people's expectations of you kind of mold the person that you're turning into. So I went through the corporate world. I became a very polished adult, but you feel kind of locked, right? You caged inside of yourself, and you're like, wow, I can't show my real personality, or I can't talk about this particular subject because it might upset somebody. And finally, I was like, look, IDGAF. I don't give a fuck. All right. I don't. I'm going to be authentic. If it hurts your feelings, if it's not for you, I'm never going to be disrespectful. Never. There's a very different, just kind of presentation of being an asshole and disrespectful, or just being authentic. And I finally said, F it. I'm ripping off the Band-Aid. I'm literally going to be myself. And boom, my life exploded. Yeah. I was like, holy shit. Wow, this is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, fun, releasing. Are there any spaces where you still feel like you feel yourself shrinking or playing small to accommodate the spaces? Like even if it's the grocery store, and on a larger scale, places like our marriages or family reunions, or I'm just curious where you still feel like you're like, I probably shouldn't go full out Kim now.
There's only one area, literally only one area. And for some reason, I still can't talk about sex in front of my dad or around my dad. Okay. I won't do it. My mom's dead, so that's fine. Okay. I remember talking to my mom about sex when I was a teenager, and I told her, I'm having an affair, not with my husband now.
Are you currently?
No, God, no. I love he.
Kim, who says she has no filter. I'm like, okay, well then let's just put it up. I'm having
No, bring it on. This is the one guy I would never. No, I love this man. But my ex-husband was an absolute narcissist. I didn't know that at the time. Total narcissist. So I was like, okay, not for me. And so I told my mom, I'm having an affair. And she looked at me and said, that's okay. It won't be your first one.
Okay.
That legit. And for some reason, like my brothers, they can talk about sex, they can talk about what girl they banged, they can talk about all the, but if my dad's around, I'll look at my husband and be like, you better shut your fucking mouth. No, we didn't do that there. Nope, 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 don't. And I don't know why, but I just can't do it.
Okay. And do you feel, have you ever talked to him about that? Or have you ever had conversations like around the parameters of
Nope.
sex?
Nope.
Interesting.
Like I even shy around, like I have 3 babies. Obviously, I like to have sex, right? So
Not like he doesn't know that you have it.
exactly.
And
But
he had it.
He
'cause
did.
you're
Yeah,
here.
you little pig. I just can't even say the word around him. I'm like, my husband's like, why are you like that? You have no filter. I'm like, ew, it's inappropriate. And I become like a little schoolgirl again.
So your upbringing, what was it like?
Oh my gosh, totally fucked. So totally. So my dad now is actually my mother's 4th husband. He's not my biological father, but he did adopt me when I was 13. So my mom, who was, I mean, a raging alcoholic, she had 4 babies by the time she was 24. And my entire childhood, all I remember is her dancing on pool tables, lots of parties in the backyard. And I learned how to cook. I learned how to change diapers at the age of 8. I was the oldest. So I was taking care of my siblings. And that's really where all the dysfunction started. Yeah, truly.
And
So
that's to meet your father who comes onto the scene at 13 during puberty. That sounds like it could have been traumatic, just in terms of the age you were at that time and all the responsibility put on.
Honestly, and not exaggerating, and God rest my mother's soul. I mean, I know she's dead and my brothers hate when I talk bad about my mom, but it's the truth. And I don't like to sugarcoat things. You never know when your story is going to inspire someone or impact or empower. But my mother's life was literally a revolving door of men. I mean, she was always having sex. I remember I'm traumatized from certain songs because I can hear like them moaning in the song. So if it comes on the radio, I'm like, change it, change it, change it. So it was legit a revolving door of men. And so when my dad came into my life at 13, I was a complete asshole to him, like complete asshole. And I don't know how things kind of ironed out. They did. I did try to kill myself when I was 16. And he was the one that found me and rushed me to the hospital. And they told him if you had gotten her here 5 minutes later, without a doubt, she would be dead. And he became my best friend. And now he lives with my husband and I. We take care of him. I'm his caregiver. And I treat him like a toddler. Like I'm very, very protective over him. So it's amazing how this beautiful journey, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story in and of itself, that relationship you have with him. So deep. Wow. Yes, thank you for sharing that. And so was he your support throughout the whole, like throughout your sister taking her life? I know that that's something that you and I, he wasn't.
No, so he and my mom ended up getting a divorce because she was cheating on him. And mom married, I want to say 4 more times. So by the time she died, I had counted 8 husbands. She was with another man when she died. They weren't married yet. But my dad, he moved down to the Florida Keys and he was diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer. He was no shit. He was given a 5% chance to live. And during his like serious battle with cancer, they had to remove his entire esophagus, most of his stomach, his spleen, and 14 lymph nodes.
Oh my God.
He was on feeding tubes for 2 full years of his life. Nestle donated 2 years worth of the Carnation instant breakfast for him to live. And he was in the hospital when my sister died by suicide. He never got to get out of the hospital to come to the funeral. He never got to say goodbye. Still in the hospital, several months later, his own mother died. So he lost, for all intents and purposes, his daughter and his mother in the same year while he was battling cancer.
Wow, Kim. And
You
now
didn't know what kind of can of worms you were opening up
I
here
did
with
not.
me.
This episode is called No Sugarcoating, or something messier. I don't know. But of course, like you said, this is going to be in service to somebody. Somebody's going to be thinking, listening to this, how can I survive this life because of all the trauma I've been through, or illness, or pain, or loneliness, and then they're going to see somebody like you, resilient and strong and brave and an advocate and activist now, and your father going through all that, and now I don't how many years later
So
he's
10 years in remission.
so he's still here, and
He's
now you're living
healthy.
with him.
Yeah.
And how it all came full circle. And
Yeah. So now we take care of him, and he's
Wow.
got a great relationship with my youngest daughter, who's 6.
Good.
And it's life is settled and it feels really good.
Mm.
But it's funny because everyone that I talk to, they're like, just wow, like my story will blow someone's mind.
Yeah.
But it's different when it's you and you've lived through all the shit and all the stuff, and you're like, wow, I guess it really is that messed up. But when you're going through it, it feels like the norm.
It's just your life, right? And what you know. Do you have the same? I have the same experience, perhaps as you do, when I go to a therapist. And I used to be a therapist, so I'm already like, I know your game, and I start to anticipate what they're going to say. But they always say, and I imagine they do with you, they're like, "Wow, how did you survive all that?" And then you're like, "Okay." And it's just not helpful. You're looking at me like, wow, really?
Why are you still here? Well, thanks, bitch. I just paid $25.
And then there's this long pause, and they're looking like, I don't know what to do with you right now.
I get that a lot.
I bet you do. I bet you do. So who do you lean on? Because when you've been through so much and you're a leader and you're highly functioning, it's hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find people who can hold space for all of it, and all of it's beautiful. But how where do you go?
That's tricky because I'm a super control freak. And so I've really tried to do life my own way on my own terms. And if someone tried to offer assistance or feedback, I'm like, will you just shut the fuck up? I don't care what you have to say. And honestly, it hasn't really served me well, because even though now I'm highly functioning and I really do have my shit together, it wasn't always like that. I mean, I started doing drugs when I was 15. I started drinking liquor and stealing it from my mom when I was 16. I got pregnant by the time I was 17, had my first baby at 18. Like, I was really fucked up and I was going down a very, very bad path. And when I gave birth to my son, that was the switch that flipped everything about me. And I started to become more put together and more thoughtful and more, filtered, even though I was still me. But I learned, probably because of my husband. I've known this man since 1998. We did not get together at the time because I was only 15 and he was 24. So he tells me I was jailbait. But many years later, we reconnected.
Yep.
And we got together in 2013. And, because he was friends with my entire family, he was at my sister's funeral, just watching me from a distance. And so he is a strong enough person to handle my bullshit and put me in my place and say, look, you're really being a bitch, knock it off. And I need that kind of, I need that, because I'm like, oh, I'm being an asshole right now. Okay. And he's really molded me, whether he realizes it or not. So he's definitely the biggest support. And the second piece is, I was telling you before we started, recording, is I'm so inappropriate, and I don't think that everyone can handle that. So I started a little secret Facebook page just as an outlet for myself. And I go on to Snapchat, I grab a funny filter, and I record these stupid videos that are 100% the truth. And if my mother-in-law, who is I can't even say the word. I know you said I could swear, but I can't even say the word.
There's not.
I can't do it.
I can't imagine what that word is.
I hate that woman with a passion.
I could tell.
But anyway, I'll record videos and I'll just go dump them on my Facebook page. And they're true, they're relatable, they're funny because I'm adding humor to it. And that page is just grown like wildfire without me promoting it and without me even telling anyone I did it. It's just people need to see how you cope and how you deal. And that's one way for me.
And so it feels cathartic to you, and I bet it's cathartic to the people watching you release, and it might give them permission to do. And that group's the I Can't Fucking Win group that you're talking about?
So okay. I don't know if Facebook was going to shut me down, so I spelled it Fukkin. So it's I Can't Fucking Win. And like every video, I end it just letting you know like what happened today. One day I was making a shake, a breakfast shake. And I was like, I want a little cinnamon in here, right? So I'm drinking it. I'm like, shit, that's getting spicy. So I'm like, there's something wrong. So I took a huge gulp. Now my throat is burning. And I'm like, what is happening? So I go back to my closet and I realize I put all the chili powder where the cinnamon was. So I do a video knocking myself. I'm like, you asshole, I'm wondering why this shake's getting spicy. And I'm like, I can't fucking win. So that's how I end all my videos. So for people who in their life feel like they can't fucking win, they're like, I need this bitch in my life.
That's great. I'm probably building up to stuff like that. I started a Facebook group recently. It's called Midlife Mischief and Merriment. Cause I'm not as, edgy and I'm not there yet, Kim. I'm working on it. But yeah, it's a fun way to release our mischief and our humor and just to let go and to have a space, even if it is a Facebook group where I'll never meet the people I'm talking to. It's like, this is me, this is messy, this is raw, blah, let it go.
Easy girl. That's how we met, is a Facebook group. So you never know.
Never know. That's right. That's right.
But there's a lot of inappropriate mom groups. And the more, of my mom friends I talk to, you find a little bit of secret in them. And they're like, oh, I'm in this mom group. And it's so inappropriate because that is a release for them. That's an outlet. And there's still that stigma of, well, I can't really show people that I cuss, or I can't really show people that I do have this side of my personality because I'm a mom or because I'm a businesswoman. And so they go into those secret mom groups and they find that outlet in that release.
Yes.
I think it's so important to just have that. But I'm not one that's going to hide behind the curtain. Like, this is what you get. Yeah. If it's not for you, it's okay.
And it seems like in all the guests I've been interviewing for this podcast who have this just wild, rebellious, no filter side, they've all been through the hardest shit and traumas. And that trauma usually is the catalyst for the change to be free and liberated and unfiltered. And I mean, thank goodness there's some gifts in that heartache and trauma that we all go through. But I know I've talked to women who have, for instance, gone through cancer, and it's after the cancer and after the chemotherapy or after the mastectomy that they finally embrace their body. And it's so fascinating to me that for women, I believe it's common. We have to fully break down, lose everything seemingly, like come apart at the seams, so that we can start building ourselves back and figure out who we actually are, and then relentlessly, unapologetically start to show ourselves to the world.
It's funny you say that because, people see me and they would never have me pegged for like a master transformation coach. I pulled 100% of my clients and I'm like, why me? Seriously, why me? There's so many badass people in the world. Why'd you choose me? 100% of them said, you tell me like it is, your brutal honesty, your brutal honesty, your brutal honesty. So I'm like, okay, good. I used to get in trouble for having a mouth on me or for telling you like it is or for being a little rebellious. And now I legit get paid to beat these women up and say, look, stop. I need to find the authentic you. Yeah. And it's funny because my husband he literally watches their live videos and he follows the journeys of my client and he goes, holy shit, they're becoming more like you. With each video he sees them, he's like, what did you do to her? What did you do to this one? I'm like, I gave that bitch her power back. Like, she is authentic. She is now like living her best life, because you don't have to go through that shit that you're talking about to rebuild and find yourself. You need to lock arms with someone like Pasha, like yourself,
Yes.
who's been through the shit, because you're willing to break those barriers for people, condense their learning curve, collapse the time frame,
Yes.
and let them get to that end or that desired result much faster. And
Yes.
that's, you know, I hired my first coach, and that coach had a tremendous play in me finding myself again. Even though I've been through the trauma, I mean, what are the odds that you've had 2 people in your family kill themselves? You're an attempt survivor yourself. Your father had 5% chance to live with cancer, like shit after shit after shit after shit, and still be somewhat normal. It's because of each, you know,
Yes.
but people don't have to get to that in order to find themselves. And that's kind of why I do what I do, and why we're here talking and you do what you do.
Absolutely. And do you think if you didn't have the sense of humor that you would be able to survive what you have or be where you are right now?
Not even a little bit.
Yep.
I would have lost my shit for real.
Yep. Me too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to laugh. And, you know, and I'm sorry to bring up such a heavy topic, but when my mother killed herself, listen, my brother had just gotten married 1 month prior. I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter. This is a true story. It was 3 days after Christmas, and she shot herself in the head. We went to her home, and the cops let me stand over her body in the chair. You know what I said to her? I looked at her and said, "You really fucking did it this time." And that's all I could say. I'm like, "You selfish bitch. It's 3 days after Christmas. I'm 8 months pregnant. My brother just got married, and you saw what we all went through when my sister died by suicide." And so even that, it wasn't a funny situation, but I was still bringing my sense of humor
Yes.
into it. You know, it's not to sweep things under the rug, but it's to allow that release and allow, you know, yourself not to really get lost in the heartache of it all.
Absolutely.
So I think laughter is so important.
Your your story, thank you for sharing that, is a perfect example. When I teach comedy writing or comedy technique, sometimes it's the timing was so bad of this horrible thing that's what makes it funny. And not that it was actually funny, but it was that it was so bad it was funny, or that the timing or the irony around it, and just what you're just saying, the timing of it all, you're like, really?
Yeah.
When you decide, and that you were able, that there's a mathematical equation in comedy. It's tragedy plus time equals comedy. There's different variations of it, but people like you have learned to shorten the amount of time between the tragedy and the comedy, because the tragedies keep happening, and you know that the comedy saves your life probably each time. And so do you go into situations almost witnessing yourself and being curious about how you could possibly make this annoying thing or trauma funny? Do you do that?
Always. If you follow, I need my own reality show, girl. If you followed me around, okay. Oh my gosh. Look at Romeo and Juliet, right? That's a perfect example. Anyway, I've got like my marketing brain on, because I always share my journey, my authentic journey. I'm very, very transparent for my audience, because my goal is to empower and to inspire. And if they can see like, shit, this girl's been through some stuff and she's still doing life and enjoying life, it's possible for me. So I'll go outside, and like, we've got goats now. And so we thought they were pregnant. So I spent more time looking at my goat's vagina than I've ever looked at my own. And so now I'm like, how can I capture the insanity of what I'm doing?
Yes.
And so now I started recording myself looking at their vagina. And I'm now like, I am the self-proclaimed goat gynecologist. So if you were to ever go to my website, you could literally search #goat gynecologist, and you're going to find all my shit. And it's like, I've got to show the world, like, look, if you just can't laugh, if you can't have fun, what the hell's the point? You're going to be so stuffy and so miserable and die a freaking miserable old age death What was it for?
Right. We're gonna die anyhow.
Shit's gonna happen to you
The shit's
anyhow.
gonna still keep happening. Yes. Yeah. Now this episode needs to be called The Goat Gynecologist. The name of the episode is going to change as we talk. Oh my goodness. Yes, you're such a good example of all that. And so it was interesting for me to read one of your bios where you wrote a memoir and you used a pen name because you were holding on to shame about it, about the book and what was released in the book. And it was fascinating to me because there's this sense probably to the outside world that all of this comes easily to you now and that you're just free to release all the truths. But we talked about prior to recording that it's not that easy, especially when it comes to family and the people who are closest to us.
Let me just say, I did write a book. I'm now a 2-time published author, but I wrote this book because it was very therapeutic. I just needed the outlet, but I really didn't want to show the world truly how fucked up my life was. I don't think I was ready for that yet. So I did hide behind a pen name. Of course, my family knew I was writing the book, and I never stopped to think about the stuff that I was writing in the book. It was all true, but it was definitely going to hurt some people. And when they got the book, like life exploded. I mean, I was shunned. I lost relationships. I don't talk to those people still today. The funny thing is, there was a part of the book where when my sister died by suicide, I was 5 months pregnant at the time with my first daughter. So it was my second baby. I was 5 months pregnant and I was down in Florida. We were getting ready for her funeral. I needed a shower. So I go into my cousin's bathroom, who we talked about before. She grew up as a stripper. She did her thing. She paid her way through law school at being a stripper. And so we were at her place, and it wasn't like home decor was important to her. It was like, I want to pay for my Range Rover. I want to pay for law school. I want to pay for my shit. So I went into her bathroom and there was no shower curtain. Well, it was the first time I'd been in a shower in Florida because I lived in New England. So I thought, is this normal for people in Florida? Because it's like tiled bathroom. Like, I was very, very confused at the time. So I was like, no problem. So I step into the shower, totally naked. My boobs are a little saggy, got my big belly, and I'm like buck ass naked. And someone knocks at my door and she's like, it's Mom, open up. And I'm like, there's no curtain in this bathroom. I don't want you looking at my naked body. I don't care that I came out of your vagina. I don't care. She's like, just open the door. So I open the door. I go back to the shower and I'm like, now, like, I feel icky. Like, I don't want my mom looking at me. I don't know why. And so this bitch gets undressed and climbs in the shower with me.
Your mom.
My mother.
She really needed a shower. Was she covered in goat feces or something? Why did she need a shower right then and there?
Don't know. This is how scorned I was. This is why I hid under a pen name. This is why I needed therapy. This is why I needed to get it out. And I'm like, I still to this day can look around and see the white tile, no shower curtain, and 2 naked women. And I'm like, I gotta go. I feel very dirty right now. And I put that in the book. And I was like, I didn't want my friends and family to know, but I've done so much work on myself that it's like, look, it happened. I don't give a shit who knows or who doesn't know. If you can see what I've been through, really, truly, how fucked up it was, and see the person that I am now and how I'm able to help, not just myself. I'm a better mom. I mean, I see a tremendous difference with my daughter than I do with my son, who lived through this fucked up time period. And he's just as a fucked up human being now as I used to be. But I parent differently. My relationship with my husband is strong because I'm a different person. So it's almost like I had to go through that in order to just let it all go and say, you know what, whatever. If you don't love me because I showered naked with my mom, like,
right. We don't get along. It's striking me though. Do you have 2 children?
I have 3.
Okay. because you were pregnant during 2 of these suicides, and I'm thinking,
Both times.
what an existential kind of crisis that must have been to be
It was
holding
really, really
life
messed up.
and losing life. And then did you get pregnant after that? Is your third? I don't know the
So
order.
when I was 17, I got pregnant right in high school
Okay.
with my son. I had to drop out of high school, get my GED, and raise this baby. And then I married my narcissistic husband, and we got pregnant with my first daughter. And when I was 5 months pregnant, that's when my sister died. And that was my first experience with loss ever.
Mm.
So I was very messed up. Like, I was very messed up. And of course, working in the corporate world, they give you a whole week of bereavement, which is not enough time. So I would have to go to work, and I was a corporate executive at this time. I was running a clinical lab. I had 64 employees, and I ran the busiest lab in all of New England. I had 200 patients a day who came through my facility, and I was a fucking mess. I would start crying in the middle of a conversation. People must have thought, like, what is wrong with this girl? I was a hot mess. And I kept telling myself, like, I'm legitimately growing a baby. I've got to be healthy. I have to be okay. I've got to be good for this child. And so the second time around, which is why the humor kind of came in, it was very ironic, for lack of better terms. I'm pregnant again. 8 months pregnant this time. And this bitch kills herself. Like, what we went through the first time, but that you didn't give a shit enough. You did it again, anyway. Yes. So it was messed up.
Okay, so I could sleep tonight, Kim. What is easy in your life and pleasurable and fun? Please give me a very long list of the things that are easeful in your life, because I'm a big empath and a highly sensitive person, and my heart is pounding right now, and I want to hear all the things.
Literally everything. I wake up knowing that I truly married my partner. It took me a while to get it right, but I did. And I'm so glad I found this relationship. So I was able to retire my husband fully with my business. So he's not a stay-at-home dad. He's not a work-at-home dad. He truly is a do whatever the hell he wants dad. And that was so, so important to me, because this man gave 23 years of his life to the fire service. And there were times where I was pregnant with our daughter, or she was a newborn, and I would lose connection with him for 6+ hours because he was at the fire station really dealing with serious, trauma and issues. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get a knock on the door telling me my husband's not okay. There was so much fear. Sure. Given my past, my brain always went to the traumatic, right?
Absolutely. That's the anxiety.
So now it's like, my dad is healthy. He lives with us, so I know he's taken care of. And I have a mindfulness bell that goes off randomly once an hour, and it reminds me, Kim, what are you grateful for right now? And I'm so grateful that I've been through what I've been through so that I can care for my dad with a level head, that I can be the wife for my husband. We have the most amazing sex I've ever had in my entire life. And literally, I will rape him in the middle of the night when he's sleeping. And he's like, what the hell? That was amazing. And I'm like, you say that every time. Just wake up, just get it hard. Let me get on top and let me go back to sleep. So when I tell you, it's amazing. I'm so happy for you. That happened the other night, and he's still talking about it.
Oh my gosh, brilliant. And it's, beyond resilience and persistency and hope. I don't even know the words, right? But it's you. It's Kim Ward, which is why you're a brilliant transformational coach, because you help people walk this crazy path of life and have all kinds of wisdom and humor to make it possible to thrive even in the mess.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Okay. How can we reach you, Kim, if we wanted to follow, which of course we do now want to follow you and make sure
Yeah.
you're
So my website is
okay.
lifebydesignsolutions.com.
Okay.
I'm literally all over Facebook. I
Yes, you
don't
are.
know. Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm on Clubhouse, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. But if you type in Kim Ward, evidently there's a lot of us,
Oh,
but there's only one of me.
well, yeah.
So you got to make sure you have the right Kim Ward.
You're very sparkly. She's the
I,
sparkly Kim Ward.
I love glitter. I love sparkle. I'm a
Yes.
queen. Just make
Yes.
I am. My shirt says it. I am a social
Social
distancing
distancing
queen.
queen. That's right.
So honestly, yeah.
Yes.
Lifebydesignsolutions.com. You'll
Okay.
find me from there.
Yeah. She's a hoot. She's a hoot to follow and wise. I always learn
Gynecologist.
yes, the goat. Thank you for listening to the goat gynecologist. I always learn something from you, Kim, and I never really feel like I have the time to watch Facebook Lives. And then I get sucked in to yours because I know something's going to happen. Something's going to come up. And sometimes it's just really brilliant business advice, which I appreciate. And then sometimes it's just off the wall humor, which brightens my day. So you are gifting me in your presence and work what I hope I'm also gifting other people who follow me. So yes. So thank you for being out there, for being your raw, crazy, authentic, wild.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So follow Kim Ward. And if you want to continue a conversation with me, reach out to me about coaching or Roar with Laughter or the podcast or anything we've been talking about. If you need a referral to a goat gynecologist, talk to Kim. But
Once your vaginal steaming episode comes out, I might need some advice for my goats because I spend so much time with their vaginas.
oh my goodness, Kim, let's do some vaginal steaming for goats. It's called yoni steaming for women. I wonder if it would be yoni steaming for goats. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm gonna call my yoni steaming friend and find out.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. If you want to reach out to me, pashamarlow.com or email me at pashamarlow.com. If you are having fun listening to these wild podcasts, please share or maybe even leave a review. I would appreciate both so much. So good to spend time with you all today. Bye. Bye, Kim.
Bye. Thank you.